Hello everybody, it's Mr. Cole. Welcome again to another one of our video lectures. Yesterday, in the past 2 days, we talked about the Articles of Confederation and its ultimate failure in, being too weak of a government. After Shays' Rebellion, many of our founding fathers start to question if the Articles of Confederation government is really the best option for them. Eventually, some states meet in Annapolis, Maryland, to try and start discussing some maybe changes to the Articles. Eventually, the Articles of Confederation's own government goes ahead and gives the go-ahead for a convention. And this convention would be a meeting of all 13 states where they would revise the Articles of Confederation. Well, we now know this as the Constitutional Convention, because the very first thing that folks do when they get there is they decide to scrap the Articles completely and start a new government. And that new government that they eventually come up with is called the Constitution. The Constitution will strengthen the national government. Some of the big things it does. First, it will establish 3 branches of government: a legislative, an executive, and a judicial branch. Okay, so remember, the Articles of Confederation only had a legislative branch that made the laws. They had to ask the states to carry them out. The Constitution provides the ability in an executive branch to have the laws of Congress actually carried out. It also establishes a judicial branch to then review the laws, to settle issues, to settle disputes, to make decisions when 2 states are in conflict with each other. It made it easier to pass laws. It made it easier to amend the Constitution. It gave Congress significantly more powers, as most importantly, the power to actually levy taxes. Remember that the government did not have the ability to levy taxes under the Articles. It also gave them the ability to fully, truly raise their own national army and the ability to regulate commerce, to make any laws regarding interstate business they could do. Now, with that being said, though, the Constitution does not form only a national government. It creates what we call federalism. Federalism is the sharing of powers between the national and the state governments. So the Constitution did not go full on, total national control. No, it's more of a happy medium, right? Great Britain, it's like the Goldilocks, right? And the Bears, okay? The national government of Great Britain was way too powerful. The Articles of Confederation, the national government, was way too weak. The Constitution is kind of that nice happy medium, where the national government has powers in some areas, the states have power in the other. For example, you go and get a driver's license. Your driver's licenses are not determined by the federal government. Okay, those driver's licenses and who can drive is established by the states. That's why each driver's license has the state on it and not a national one. Okay? Now, overall, the Constitution was once again drafted using those Enlightenment ideas we talked about earlier. You will see in a second the social contract that they make very clear in the Constitution, but also the separation of powers, the idea that power should be divided into 3 separate branches. If you remember, this idea came from Montesquieu, as he wrote about how the king had total power and had those 3 powers needed to be split amongst the branches. Now, to show you the idea of the social contract, I want to take you to the actual preamble of our Constitution. The preamble is the introduction, and this is the introduction right here. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, how does this reflect the social contract? Well, I want you to ignore everything right here. Ready? Delete. Notice how this first sentence actually runs. This is all one sentence, by the way. It's a bit of a run-on, but anyway. Look at how this first sentence actually is established. We, the people of the United States, do ordain means like bless, and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. This is just such a prime example of the idea of the social contract. We, the people, are creating this government. We are the ones giving its authority. We are the ones who are establishing it. And we're establishing it for the United States of America. We, the people, as Abraham Lincoln famously says, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Right? That it's made of the people, right? We make it up. It was made by the people. We're the folks who have made it. And lastly, it's for the people. And that's really where the founding ideas come from. Now, the rest of the sentence you will see is why they're doing it. Okay? They're doing it to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, a system of laws and punishments, to ensure domestic tranquility. Tranquility means peace. To ensure peace at home, to provide for the common defense, to provide a common military, to promote the general welfare, to promote the well-being of the country, and to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, means children and future generations. We are doing this for these reasons. And you can see a lot of this is in response to Shays' Rebellion, right? A more perfect union. Remember, Articles of Confederation was the League of Friendship. It wasn't really a union, right? Ensuring domestic tranquility, peace here at home, right? A common defense, right? So you're seeing some lines there that are kind of addressing some of the issues that we're missing in the Articles. So what does the Constitution actually look like? Well, one, we just read the preamble, which is a reflection of the idea of a social contract. It forms a representative government, also known as a republic, because we vote for representatives. Those representatives serve in what we call the legislative branch. The legislative branch, also known as Congress. Okay? Now, Congress' job is to make the laws. Now, they are made up of two houses. So there are two separate houses of Congress. There's the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives is based on population. So the bigger the state, the more representatives you get. The Senate, on the meanwhile, is on each state, no matter how big or how small, gets 2 senators each. This is what we call the Great Compromise at the convention. Was this compromise that came up with 2 houses, one on population and one equal. Article 2 establishes the executive branch, which implements the law. The executive branch is headed up by the president. The president's job is to implement and carry out the laws of Congress. Okay, now obviously the executive branch is larger than just the president. Every single employee of the United States government, every postal worker, every construction worker, every tax collector, all those folks, they all work for the executive branch. Okay. You don't need to know these, okay, but just keep in mind it also establishes a judicial branch, all right, which is what we call the Supreme Court, along with other lower courts to interpret or judge the law. And then it establishes a variety of other things, which we'll talk about in class, not that big of a deal for you to know right now. Okay? So, with that, what I want you to think about and keep in mind, though, are really these big ideas, right? The Constitution and the people. And the Constitution ensures that people have a role in electing our representatives. Now, keep in mind, when this was created, that we are only talking white men, okay? But it does ensure that all white men originally have a role in government, okay? The biggest idea, of course, the idea of consent of the governed, the idea of, we the people are establishing this. But really even, I think, really important to understand is that it established a limited government. A government that did not have unlimited power. Congress can only make laws regarding the specific things that the Constitution gives them. Things like taxes, armies, and commerce. If it is not listed in those things, they are not allowed making a law about it. Okay, and I think that's really important because you want to keep in mind that government only can touch the things that we let it touch. Right? We let them tax us. We let them, raise an army. We don't let them limit our right to freedom of speech. We don't let them limit our right to a trial by jury. And so limited government is very prevalent in protecting the civil liberties and the rights of our country. So with that, what I want you to keep in mind here is how this Constitution fixed many of the problems of the Articles. And that's it for today. Alrighty, guys. I'll see y'all. Bye.